get it. Let's jump right in, and we'll start with the locker room. If you'll give me a screen grab, Tim, this was Matt LaFleur immediately following the win, talking to his team, about 2 minutes and 48 seconds long. We may pause it in between just to chat about it a little bit, but again, here was Matt LaFleur with the team immediately following this 28-21 victory over the Chicago Bears. Here we go.
It's never easy in this league. We know that. You can't take that for granted. You just keep playing. One play at a time. It was awesome. What an ending there. Give it up for 2-5. You know what? It was great, too, to have number 7 back in the fold. Coop was out there with 11 tackles. JJ with the sack. How about Josh Jacobs, man? Critical pickup on that 3rd and 1, man. He's got 21 yards, and this guy around the end zone, you know he's getting in him. Like that bird back there. How about Bo Melton, man?
This team loves Bo Melton, man. Can I just say that for a second? They absolutely love Bo Melton. And not only is he like one of these versatile players, he's going to give you something on special teams, he's going to give you something on defense, going to give you something on offense. But, I mean, he's just one of those locker room guys. Love Bo Melton.
That's my 5-yard touchdown catch. That's a hell of a job, Bo. How about our quarterback, man? But I got a game ball for this guy today. This guy had 2 tutties.
Christian Watson here talking.
Hey, I mean, real talk. We all know what happened last time we played these boys out here. For me, so I wasn't really trying to think about it a lot. Y'all boys helped me do that. It meant a lot to me to be able to go out there. First off, to see out the game healthy and be out there with your boys get a job.
No problem. The other guy, and I know I started with this guy, and it's not always how you start, man.
Yes, sir.
There was some turmoil. There was some adversity, 2-5, was there not?
Yes, sir.
There was some adversity in that first half, but he came through. He had 2 PBUs, and the game's called.
Hey, I appreciate y'all boys, man. I had 2 bad penalties early on. Y'all kept me in the game, keep my focus, man. I'm glad. I appreciate y'all. Hey, pack on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely love it, man. I love that what he said there too, right? Keys like, hey, look, man, appreciate y'all having my back. Had 2 bad penalties early on, and y'all believed in me. Again, man, that's the emotion of the game. And I know it's easy to pile on a person when they get penalties. I was as frustrated as anyone. I'm like, Key, stop talking, Key. Just play football, right? Then you see the replay back, and we'll talk about in the bad officiating segment, a portion of this show. And man grabs you by the throat. It's kind of like what Mike Tomlin said a few weeks ago, Tim, whenever who was it that spit in it was Jamar Chase spit in Jalen Ramsey's face. Jalen Ramsey has a history of talking trash and getting penalties, right? He's kind of one of those high-strung players. Cornerbacks have got to have that chip on their shoulder. But when a man spits in your face, Mike Tomlin said, hey, what did you tell? They asked him, what did you tell Ramsey when he got that penalty or whatever? Man spit in his face. I said, do what's natural.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
Do what comes natural. Man grabs you by the throat. And again, we'll talk about it later on. I don't want this segment to be about that, but I just love the fact that you heard Keyshawn acknowledge, I had 2 bad penalties and y'all believed in me, right? Coach LaFleur pointing it out in front of the team while giving praise as well. Like that's just to me, it's a perfect situation, Tim. You were able to coach and teach at one point saying, hey, we can't do that. But at the same time going, that's how you handle it when you make a mistake. Short memory. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And the coach having his players back 100%, right? And the team, and they acknowledge that. I think it's important. And, as far as the chirping and the talking, I'd rather have my guys doing that at home against a division rival than letting them come in our building and, disrespect us. So I'm glad Key bounced back, and I'm glad the team stuck together. And it's awesome that LaFleur acknowledged that in the post game, and Keyshawn acknowledged it too. So it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I love what was said here. Hugh in the chat says we plucked Melton off the Seahawks practice squad, if memory serves correctly. And immediately as I was reading that, and I'm assuming that's true. You guys go check that, but immediately it made me think we also got Emmanuel Wilson off the Broncos practice squad. So just Goody going through his draft board after guys are getting cut and trying to be placed on the practice squad. We actually had a decent grade on him. Let's give him a shot. Let's bring him and throw him on the active for a couple.
Can't wait to see him on the road trip to Denver coming up on Sunday.
That's a great point, man. I didn't even think about that. So we should be able to keep this one up, Tim. I want to show it. So, of course, we have Ben Johnson's comments as soon as he got hired as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Let's start with that, and then we'll get into the icy handshake or lack thereof at the end of the at the end.
Get ready to go.
Between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur. Again, here's what Ben Johnson said back in January.
Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell. You're talking about two guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
And then, of course, hey, listen, sometimes your mouth write checks that your ass can't cash, right? And here was the handshake at the end of the game. As you can see Matt LaFleur coming across. Right here's the eye contact. Look, hey, leans in, gets just a little bit of eye contact, and he goes, all right, get out of here, little boy. I see his handshake, man. You love to see it. Here's another angle, too. Shout out to Dominic Yates over on X that tweeted this video out. Said Packers win it over the Bears 28-21. Green Bay 9-3-1 is at the top of the NFC North. A fired up Matt LaFleur runs off the field. So here you're going to see Matt on the sideline as soon as the game's over, right? It's over. You see the general fired
Look at the general. I love it.
Yes, sir. Now here comes Matt heading to midfield. And again, this isn't so much about the handshake. You see how brief it is again right here. It's more about watching him go into the tunnel for me. Yeah, just get the heck out of here. Ben Johnson's like, well, that sucked. He just kind of looks away. So, and then, of course, here's Matt. Look at Matt with the crowd, man. Love it. I love the fact, too, that these players, I mean, he's just absolutely fired up. I love that these players and coaches, even though there's a portion of the fan, a very, very, very small amount of the fan base that will go at these guys on Twitter, right? Keyshawn's one. Keyshawn, that's why his comments after the game is, I do this for myself, man. I ain't worried about anybody. Like, it's sad to say, but Keyshawn has had to give up on a portion of the fan base because of how they rake them over the coals in social media, over the last 2 years. And again, I don't understand. I say that because Matt LaFleur, it's the same thing here, right? With Matt LaFleur, you're talking about a guy who is now 12th all-time or 11th all-time, whatever it is, winningest coach in history, passing Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer when it comes to winning percentage. And you had a portion of the fan base trying to get him fired, right? Calling for his job. I love the fact that Matt doesn't hold that over the whole entire fan base, and that's why I'm always going to mention a minute amount of the fan base, because it's very, very important to acknowledge it that way. Like, if you guys haven't seen the clip that I retweeted of Homer on ESPN Milwaukee going on a big rant, like, you would thought the Packers lost by 20 points. It was unbelievable because there's a portion that they thrive off that. And the best thing you can do is just chuck them to the side and keep moving forward and gather more fans that actually watch what the hell's going on the tape, actually want to understand what's going on, and want to look at a positive outcome or look at the positive spin on what this team is doing, as opposed to always harping on the negative. There's going to be enough negative when these players and coaches lose games, right? But again, I just love the fact, Tim, that Matt LaFleur is still playing to the crowd, is still fired up with the fans. He acknowledged the fans and included them in that big victory that he got there yesterday over Ben Johnson, the first of many against the Chicago Bears. That makes sense, man.
It does. It does. And you can tell Matt's happy for the fan base, right? He knows how big of a game this was for us, and, to see him, like you said, it's about that run into the tunnel and the old jumping for joy. You can't hide your enthusiasm. He knows how big this win was for the Packers, not only as a team and organization, but for their fan base as well. And I just think it's awesome. And, Matt, it's all business. He was probably all business as soon as he hit that tunnel, getting ready to pull the numbers and, give that awesome locker room speech. And, I got a lot of love and respect for our coach, man. Put some spec on Tupac LaFleur's name, man, handling business. I love it.
Yeah. And as Nick McSwain says here in the chat, it's a great point. People were saying to bench and cut K9 after the second penalty last night. Imagine if you had, because you're going to hear from Evan Williams when we talk defense. Evan Williams tells the whole story in the locker room. And the reality is he said, yeah, Keyshawn bailed me out on that interception. What does that tell you? That Evan Williams broke off of his responsibility and Key recognized it and went and made the play of the day to save the game. So again, let's make sure we acknowledge that. You know what I mean? So great point there, Nick. So Pack Daddy over at Packernet Podcast tweeted this out. Matt LaFleur broke a tie with former Green Bay head coach Mike Holmgren to match Hall of Famer Paul Brown for the second most wins, 76, by any coach in his first 7 seasons in NFL history. Only San Francisco's George Seifert with 86 has more wins than LaFleur in his first 7 seasons as head coach. So once again, what does that stat mean? In the first 7 seasons in the history of the game, right? Matt LaFleur in his first 7 seasons just broke a tie with Mike Holmgren to match Hall of Famer Paul Brown for the second most wins in that span in his first 7 seasons as a head coach.
Scared money don't make money.
What I love about it too, Tim, when you watch Matt on the sidelines, Matt is never satisfied. Matt, if anything, if I had a negative thing to say about Matt, I think he shows his emotions too much. It looks like he's just constantly pissed off. But also the positive to that is Matt's not satisfied with anything. So when you see this, you go, okay, well, let's see what he does the next 7 years. I have all the confidence in the world in Matt LaFleur because he's not going to settle. He's never satisfied. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that bleeds over into the players that he's coaching. You hear the guys talk about this all the time, even after a great win or after a great performance. You'll always hear guys say, yeah, well, there's some stuff we need to clean up. And, there's always something you can work on. It's important to stress that in your players. That way, these guys aren't getting big-headed thinking that they're world beaters all the time. There's always something you can work on. And if your coach is never satisfied, then you as a player, you're never going to be satisfied until you're hoisting that Lombardi trophy, right? That's the whole goal, and that's the mindset, and it's contagious in that locker room, and it does. It starts at the top, right? You're only as good as your leadership, and I feel pretty confident in the leadership we have in this locker room.
Absolutely. All right, so put this tweet together after Ryan tweeted that out. I think I quote tweeted him. Yeah, so I quote tweeted him because I didn't know that. That was a great stat that he pulled. I didn't realize that had happened between him and Mike Holmgren, Matt LaFleur and Mike Holmgren. But I just tweeted out, Matt LaFleur currently ranks 12th all-time in winning percentage at 677 with a record of 76, 36, and 1, passing Hall of Famers Paul Brown and Tony Dungy again. He is now tied with Hall of Famer Don Shula. So as Bates pointed out in the chat, he's actually 11th all-time, tied for 11th all-time. He's now tied with Don Shula and on the heels of Hall of Famer George Papa Bear Halas. So you can see here, Matt LaFleur is now in the 12th spot at 677 win percentage, or 11, tied for 11th with Don Shula, passing Paul Brown and Tony Dungy. So now next on the list, you got Papa Bear. Jim Harbaugh's still coaching. So we want him to lose games, obviously, this year for the Chargers. So Matt continues to close the gap on him. Then you got Ray Flaherty. You got Blanton Collier, Tommy Hewitt. Nick Sirianni still up there at number 5, although they're not playing very good football right now. So Matt's got an opportunity to gain some ground on him. George Allen, Hall of Famer. Ray Flaherty, by the way, is a Hall of Famer as well. George Allen, Hall of Famer. Vince Lombardi at 738, Hall of Famer. Obviously, John Madden, and then Guy Chamberlain. Both of those guys are Hall of Famers as well. So, again, man, you're talking about having a borderline top 10 winningest coach in NFL history. And, yeah, I don't want to hear any more fire Matt LaFleur talk. Just can't take it. Can't handle it. And here's what's awesome. This type of win is huge, Tim. It spreads right over in the fan base. This was Kyle Malzahn on Twitter, tweeted this video out. They're walking out of the media section, I assume, at the stadium last night. Listen how fired up these Packer fans were as they were leaving the stadium.
Look at Goot with the gangster walk. I love it. Just another day at the office. You got to love it.
absolutely love hearing the fans chant "The Bears still suck" on their way out. Just absolutely awesome. So again, man, Matt LaFleur doing amazing things. And with the team that's banged up, we talked about that, right? It's a December to remember. The roster's banged up. We could go through. You want to go back through the list? We could do that. I mean, look at what some of these wins he put together this year was without Christian Watson. And now you get Watson back. Now you're getting Jaden Reed back. However, you end up losing Devontae White. Something else that I think he's very, very underrated with him is his ability to kind of maneuver this roster and kind of risk or kind of manage risk over reward with some of these players who are coming back from injury, right? Like, okay, let's don't rush him back because we got this guy. Let me just put Bo Melton out there and let him run a climb route for 40-yard touchdown, right? It's just something else he does. You got anything else you want to add to the Matt LaFleur talk before we move on to Jordan Love?
No, I think that's a great point, and it's evident with how we utilize Bird. Bird was on a snap count. We got him back, but he made major contributions to this win, and it just shows Matt's ability to kind of handle the load management on some of these guys. And we'll get the full report as the days go by here, but it looks like we got out of that game relatively unscathed. Nothing new as far as serious injury, and I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to wrap up that segment. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments what you think about Matt LaFleur's locker room speech, his overall record, everything about Matt LaFleur. We want to hear from you in the comments. Are we giving him too much credit? Are we not giving him enough credit? You feel like, hey, this is a guy who's going to lead the Packers to the promised land? Because the only thing he's lacking is that ring. If he gets that ring with that kind of winning percentage, you're immediately in Hall of Fame conversation, especially once you crack the 100-win mark, which very few coaches have actually done. But we want to hear from you in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future.